Hey everybody, welcome to ACD Combatives. This is Coach Kurt. This is a video that could bring some emotion, but I'm going to try to keep this purely to the facts, and the whole point of this video is protecting yourself in the clinch range. You've watched my videos, you know that in my personal opinion, as an instructor and a trainer and someone who's been in law enforcement for since 1997. I'm a control tactics instructor, use of force instructor, taser instructor, baton, pepper spray, and I'm a field training officer. And over the years, I have personally discovered that the clinch range is the most dangerous range to be in. Yes, I cross-train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so you're going to automatically think, well, he must think the ground is super important. Yes, fighting on the ground and knowing how to defend yourself on the ground is super important. But the clinch range, to me, is the most important range. I've also cross-trained in Krav Maga and MMA, and we'll get into some of that. But in this contact, a Georgia deputy was passed, a pickup truck passed a Georgia deputy going 100 miles per hour. It took a minute or two for the guy to finally stop, and he's telling the guy that he needs to go to the rear of the vehicle, put his hands on the back of the vehicle, and he's refusing to do so. Now, there is a side story to this, which is what makes it so emotional for a lot of people. This individual, who is the suspect, was imprisoned for 16 years for a crime he didn't commit, and that sucks. Does it happen in our justice system? Yes, our justice system is far from perfect. And this man served 16 years for a crime he didn't commit, and there's some thought that he responded the way he did because he just did not want to go back to prison. And what if he had gone back for prison for a speeding ticket? Now, this would have been a criminal level ticket, reckless driving, and at this point it turns into resisting arrest. And it is a fight for this officer's life and this man's life. This is excessively dangerous. Fighting someone on the side of the freeway, both of them could have fallen and toppled over and got ran over by a vehicle going 60 miles per hour. Easily could have happened. Guys, this is a horrible place to be. The deputy ended up tasing the guy at super close range. I'm not going to go into long details about why the taser is ineffective at close range or is less effective at close range. But after the 5 seconds was up, the guy turned and started swatting and coming at the deputy, and it turned into a clinch range encounter. It turned deadly force excessively quick. He knocked the the deputy's glasses off, and he immediately started grabbing the officer's throat. Now, guys, I'm looking at this as a use of force instructor. Yes, I'm a control tactics instructor, but I'm also a use of force instructor. So I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. The definition of deadly force is if somebody is using deadly force that is likely to be deadly or serious bodily injury or harm. If you are grabbing at somebody's throat, strangling their neck, shoving their chin back and grappling the back of their head like you're trying to twist their head, that is attacking the throat and the neck. It's by definition deadly force. So let's talk about the clinch range, because that's the whole point of this video, right? This is just a perfect example of why the clinch range is so important. Here I'm doing a blindfolded drill. The whole point is that you're supposed to feel what your opponent is doing to you. This is great for grapplers, both in ground grappling and in the clinch range. I got the idea from Gracie Survival Tactics. At the end of the class, they blindfold you and you practice all your techniques blindfolded. It's a great way to train. Here you are seeing where he pulled his baton and he's trying to use it as a lever. Now remember, his taser had already failed, and he starts trying to use his baton not as a striking device but as a lever to try to lever him off. And all through this video you're going to see examples of somebody grabbing the vest, grabbing your jacket, or just clinch range fighting in general, or somebody swings a punch on you and you defend it, and now you're in the clinch range. There's two safe places in a fight: completely out or all the way in, velcroed on them or way out of the striking range. And so you want to get through that striking range in grappling, self-defense, control tactics as quickly as possible and as safely as possible without getting knocked out. You're seeing on the screen that I've thrown up some examples of Krav Maga. Guys, Krav Maga, if you train at the right school, is a terrific system to incorporate into your repertoire. I would think, okay, Krav Maga and some kind of grappling program similar to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu would be terrific. And you notice that a lot of Krav Maga schools now also do some MMA style sparring and grappling. That's terrific stuff. But back to the incident that led me to this video, the cop ended up having to pull his firearm. He had, again, tried to use his taser, didn't work. He tried to use his baton, it didn't work. He was trying to grapple with him and try to take him down, but the guy was bigger, stronger, more athletic. Well, maybe not bigger. They look pretty similar in size, but he's very athletic. And guys, I'm pretty sure he's in his lizard brain. Like we discussed, he had done 16 years for a crime he didn't commit. He is thinking, I'm not going back to prison, and he is fighting for, in his mind, to keep himself from prison. In reality, yes, it was a criminal level defense because it's reckless endangerment. When you're driving like that, every jurisdiction has a different term or way of looking at it. But he would have probably been arrested for careless, reckless, and he probably would have bailed out and everything would have been groovy. Maybe he would have done a little time, but I don't know. I've never done any law enforcement in Georgia. But the point is it turned deadly fast, quick, fast, and in a hurry. And that's how situations happen. They're fast, they're furious, and they're not pretty. Guys, violence looks violent because it's violent. What am I saying? Control tactics is, regardless if it's objectively reasonable force is basically violence, and there's no way you're going to prettify it, make it look good for CNN. Guys, people have been watching too many TV shows where the cops do some kind of Steven Seagal shit that doesn't actually work in real life, and before you know it, everybody expects cops to be able to do that kind of stuff or somehow magically de-escalation every situation, and we'll talk more about that, I'm sure. But the point is the officer used objectively reasonable force for the situation. I would have liked to have seen some more clinch technique, but I guarantee you his department probably does like 4 hours a year or something like that, and that's all they have time to do, and that's all they give their officers to do, and that sucks. Cops nationwide need way more training in control tactics and use of force, and de-escalation is a huge part of that training. If you are a competent and confident officer that you know you've got solid grappling skills, you've got solid control tactical skills, you will instantly have better gift of gab. Just by the very fact that you have confidence, you project that confidence, and people are more apt to listen to you. Guys, I've been called the crackhead whisperer by other officers. I rarely go hands-on anymore, it seems, because 9 times out of 10 I can talk people down. I'm not saying that's true all the time. If you've been a cop long enough, you are going to scrap, and at some point you're probably going to end up scrapping for your life. I've had people try to disarm me. I've fought on the side of the road in the gravel. Guys, it ain't pretty and it ain't fun, but the reason I'm confident when I make these contacts is because I know I'm trained. I'm a regular Joe at best. I'm not any kind of master martial artist, and I sure in hell don't try to pretend to be. If you watch my technique, you're like, okay, he's a decent martial artist. I'm nothing special, but I know that 9 times out of 10, my training is going to save my butt. So again, another quick recap. He tries to arrest the guy because he was reckless endangerment. So he said, no, you're under arrest for this. It's not a cite release citation. The guy pulls away. He ends up having to pull his taser and give him commands, go to the rear of the vehicle, to put his hands on the rear of the vehicle. Unfortunately, all the video I have is from the news, and the news chopped it up, and to save time and energy and to make it look dramatic for the news, because that's what they do. They never show the entire video in its entirety. It just never happens. But he ends up tasing the guy. And the taser only lasts for 5 seconds, and as soon as that ride was up, he turns and starts swatting at the cop. It turns into a real dangerous clinch. He's already, as you can see, backing the cop into traffic. Guys, super dangerous for both of them, but especially the cop because he's the one closer to traffic. This is now a deadly force encounter in and of itself. Guys, you have to realize that. He used his taser, it failed. He was being backed up in the traffic. He managed to circle his way around. He pulls his baton, tries to use it as a lever or a crowbar to get him off of him. The guy's going from his neck to his throat to his chin, his hands on his shoulder to the back of his head. He's attacking the neck in a manner that could be suffocating or crush his windpipe or break his neck. This is just a really bad situation. And the cop eventually uses his firearm to stop the threat, as we are trained. He uses one round, he fires one round, and it gets the guy off of him. He ends up stumbling back and falling to the ground. EMS works on him. Unfortunately, they weren't allowed to save him. Guys, this is a horrible situation, but it is an example that is important to use and show to everybody that wants to be a decent martial artist or somebody who can handle themselves in a situation that's that their life might be on the line. This is that situation. This is a perfect example of that. A beautiful example of why the clinch range is the most important range for you to train, especially if you're in law enforcement. Guys, I hope you like this video. It's a horrible situation. Wish it would have never happened, but it did, and I'm going to use it as a training example because that's what you do. You take bad situations and you'll learn from them and hope they never happen again. So guys, train in the clinch range more than any other range, please. All right, everybody, take care, stay safe, be careful out there, and train. All the ranges, but especially that clinch range. Okay, guys, take care.
Let's roll. Hey, let's be careful out.